Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're doing our series for the month of September, The Other Prog War. Now, this is the last of the battles for the quarterfinals, featuring Northstar and their album Feel the Cold. I believe that's what it is. Feel the Cold, yep. And against, and I think I've been pronouncing this band wrong. I took one of the words from their album title and attached it to their name, and it's not supposed to be that way. So it's actually Mandala, not Hamadella. And the album is actually called Om Mani Padme Hum. So I had it as Hamadella, but I do stand corrected there. Nobody actually corrected me on me. I just went through and when I was listening to the album today, I noticed they had it differently than I had thought it was. So anyways, these are the two albums in the battle for today. This is the last of the semifinal battle. This was probably the weakest battle of the four. The other ones were pretty heavy, I think. The one with the Ethos wasn't so close, but Ethos was very strong. Ganindro Long and Osabia was also pretty close. They were pretty close, but not too close. The first one was pretty titanic, but this one not as. The two bands weren't as big, and I didn't enjoy the albums as much. But it might be just today. Hard to say. I found with this Mandala album. This is my third time listening to it, and its third battle, and it's gotten progressively weaker as it went along. Maybe the newness of it and the unusualness of it is just settled on me and now become a little bit, normal, I guess. Maybe that might be a word for it, and it's not having as big an effect on me as it did before. The Northstar album as well, it's the same thing. I really liked it a lot initially, and not as much this time. And it might be just the way it is today. So we'll start with Northstar. So Northstar is a progressive rock band from that second wave of music. Lots of synthesizers, lots of keyboards on their albums. Pretty dominant with that sound that came out with a lot of those groups in the the early to mid 80s, that they were doing the Genesis. I think it was the Genesis worship. They were doing that, and there's a lot of good stuff on this album, but it's dominated by those keyboard parts. Vocals are pretty good too, I think. Overall, it's a strong album. I think it's an album that, given time, I'll listen to it more. It'll get stronger. But like so many bands, I seem to have this thing that happens. So a lot of albums take a while for me to penetrate. So they grow on me. And then you got some that just blow on you right away, and you just love them absolutely, and you always love them. They stay that way for the rest of the time. And you get the ones like some of these where you really enjoy the album the first time you hear it, and then it just progressively slides. It doesn't become terrible. There are some that drop right off, but I don't think you're going to get that with any of these bands that I've done so far, at least not in this round. So Northstar's Feel the Cold, pretty solid album, I think. Not hitting home runs out of the park, but definitely staying in that my area that I like to listen to. I think the Mandala album suffers from the same, a little bit more than from the Osibias and Medina Azaria. These are all outside of my well, and they're what I would call a bit novelty, or opening the door to new areas that I haven't listened to before. Sometimes they succeed, and that becomes an area I listen to a lot. Sometimes they settle after a while, then they're not as. When it comes down to it, I always go back to the sound that I like the most, and if they're not in that, they usually end up wearing out just a tiny bit. in the case of Mandala, that's what's happened today. So they're not going to go on. Northstar is going to go on to the next round. So we are now left with 4 bands and 4 albums for the semifinals. I'm not sure how Ben's going to match these up. We have I Love Atar, Children album, Genindrolong. I still can't get it. A lot of these names are difficult. I think I always tell you that why some of these bands don't make it. I think the names hurt some of them too, because people can't pronounce it. They don't want to ask for it, so they don't buy it, right? At least in the old days, but nowadays they don't even have to. They just go online and get it. So the Genindrolong's Lady Lake album, Ethos Ardor, that will be one of the toughest ones, I think. And Northstar's Feel the Cold. Those are the 4 remaining ones. I'll be interested to see how Ben lines these 4 up. And it's been my experience too with myself, is that sometimes on a given day, I'm not sure what happens, but some days I hear albums when I'm in the right mood and they're just fantastic. Other days I'm not in such a great mood. I hear them and all I hear a lot of what they call the bugaboos, right? And that sometimes happens, But if you get the right day, the right album, they could win. Kind of like the Great Prog War. A lot of people didn't foresee IQ going so far, but they were in my wheelhouse the whole time, and so I enjoyed them. And I'm hoping that, I'm not sure which of these 4 bands is going to win. I have some ideas who's kind of the leaders are and who are the kind of the followers here, but I also know that at least these 4 albums all are contenders to win this thing. I could see them all taking it at different tables. So, it'd be interesting to see who Ben lines them up against me. So for today, there you have it. You have Northstar winning over Mandala. I finally got the name right, anyways. So that's a plus, right? And we'll be back tomorrow, starting with the semis. We're down to the last 3 days of the month. So what will happen is the 2 semifinals will go, one on Friday and one on Saturday, and then the finals will be ran on the Saturday night, which worked out perfectly. Normally I like to do the finals on a day of itself, but because there's only 30 days in September, but the good part is that the last day of September is on a Saturday. I don't normally do anything on a Saturday night for videos, so this will be, it'll have a front and center stage to itself. So I thank you for enjoying the series so far. I hope that you will check out some of these albums. I know I will. I did order some from Laser's Edge, but apparently I didn't read the print at the bottom, which said they won't send them unless the card you're using has the proper address attached to the bank. So I think that's what happened. I'm not 100% sure, but I will go in and order them again. One of them was the Green Slade box set, which I really was looking forward to getting, but hopefully he still has it and I can order it then. So anyways, you have yourself a great day and evening. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and jeez, it's all falling apart here right at the end. Let me try that again. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Much appreciated. Any comments about the battles or the albums or any of the groups that we've had in the tournament, please put them on the comment section below. And we will be back with the semifinals on Friday. And this will come out tomorrow morning. So have yourself a good evening and goodbye.